Topic number 3. Moving our way through. Kamala Harris is taking off, y'all. Taking off. I know what you Republicans are going to say. I know what you Trump guys are going to say. You're going to say, it's the Harris honeymoon. This ain't going to last. This is the bump. This is the bump. Be that as it may. So there's a new Bloomberg News / Morning Consult poll out today that shows that Vice President Kamala Harris has erased President Trump's lead in 7 key battleground states after just 1 week of becoming the presumptive nominee. 48 to 47% across all the battleground states. Folks, that is big. And that's with the biggest bump coming in Michigan, where she has an 11-point lead. She's leading by 2 percentage points in Nevada, 2 percentage points in Arizona, 2 percentage points in Wisconsin. And folks who are Trump supporters who may be watching my content, don't worry, we're not going to leave you out. Donald Trump is still leading by 4 in Pennsylvania and North Carolina, and both are tied in Georgia. But what do I say about polls all the time? That polls are not determinative. Let me say that again for the cheap seats. Polls are not determinative. What does that mean? It means that polls are snapshots in time. It means that they are important, yes, to the overall formula and a bunch of other things you need to look at, but they're snapshots in time to give you a real idea about where the race is right now. And polls are snapshot in time. Today we'll say one thing, we'll show another thing the next day. The goal is to look at trends to see what polling is going from today over the next couple of days, over the next couple of weeks. It's about looking at subgroups and demographic out and seeing like who's moving, who's not moving, why are they moving, what you look at that. So polls are important and are good if you look at them in context with about 6 or 7 other indices to give you a stay of the race. And as I've told you all before, if you follow my content, Donald Trump and Joe Biden were in their low to mid 40s with very little movement going up to 50% for either candidate. Why? Because most people in America didn't want either one of them. They didn't want Joe Biden. They didn't want Donald Trump. And I keep telling Donald Trump supporters, you all like, yeah, Joe Biden's out the way. We're going to win this election, man. You're popping your collars, right? You're popping your champagne. We're going to win this in a walk, right? Wrong. The polls say they didn't want Joe Biden or Donald Trump. Well, Joe Biden's out of this race, folks. The only person in America has said in polling they don't want to be president is Donald Trump. And so Donald Trump, quiet is kept. I guarantee this is actually happening as a former elected official who's been part of working on campaigns since the age of 12. They're panicking over there. That's why you see the attacks all over the place. That's why you see a lot of this, she's liberal. And then some people are saying, well, she's this, she's that, right? She's the worst vice president ever. It's called raising the flag. It's to see who salutes. It's called throwing stuff against the wall to see what sticks. They don't know how to attack her. They had planned their entire campaign for the fall on a faltering crypt keeper, old man with a raspy voice who didn't know where to go off the stage if Jill didn't lead him by the hand, right? So this is a young, vibrant prosecutor who knows how to debate on her feet, who looks good in front of the camera, who has energy, who has quips, who can make comebacks, who can lead you back to your meandering points when you go off those points. That's who Kamala Harris is, whether you like her or not. That's who she is. And in Trump land, these numbers should make them very nervous. This 11-point lead in Michigan, first of all, I don't believe that lead is that big because it was a Trump lead, and have her then take the lead by 11 is a little suspicious weekend. But what we thought was going to be a problem states and what we thought were going to be problem states and battleground states have now kind of morphed into states that are back to where Biden was leading like in 2020. And that gets me to my point. We have talked about in my content here that both candidates, Democrat, Republican Party, I can't say Biden and Trump anymore, but both candidates in each party each has a mountain to climb in order to win the election in November. Throw out what MSNBC is telling you. Throw out what Fox Entertainment is telling you. Throw out what Newsmax and News Nation and CNN are telling you, right? The 24-hour cable news network, they're here to keep you just glued. They're here to keep you like this is a dog race, horse race, whatever you want to call it, till, 8 o'clock on election day in November. They're never, even if somebody was up by 8-9 points, they would still try to find ways to say that's not real and this person can still win. And they do that, right? It's to keep you on the edge of your seats. And you like, I don't know what's going to happen, right? That's kind of what they do. So it comes down to two things, and we've said this before. Donald Trump has to win the election in November. Donald Trump, the mountain he must climb is he must win independence nationwide. It's how he beat Hillary Clinton in a very close race. He was able to win because why? He won independence. And now, the reason why it's a mountain for him to climb is because Donald Trump and Republicans have not won independence since 2016. So when you look at the midterms in 2018, did Republicans win or lose? They lost. Why? They didn't win independence. When you look at 2020, Donald Trump's re-election campaign, he didn't lose because of election fraud. Why did he lose? Say it with me, choir. He did not win independence. In 2022, remember the big red powerful wave that was going to come into Congress that never materialized? Why did it not materialize? And I need the choir and I need, hey, Rachel, how you doing? I need the choir and I need the deacons and the trustees. I need some of those nurses in the back to stand all up in the church and say it with me. Why didn't the red wave of 22 happen in Congress? Because Republicans did not win independence. They didn't win independence. And so all year long, Donald Trump had been what? Falling behind Joe Biden with independence. Some polling has showed that he is up with independence nationwide. A week ago, I saw a poll that said he was at 49 or 46 to 43%. But I wonder what those numbers look like now. Again, we need to take a look at those numbers and break them apart to see how independents are voting in these polls. But what's interesting to me is that it's tight. And if Donald Trump can win independence, he has an excellent chance to win the presidency. Now, the Democrats and Joe Biden now, Kamala Harris's mountain they had to climb to win in November that nobody's telling you about is they have to get turnout at the same level of 2020. Joe Biden wins, beats Donald Trump by the hair of his chinny chin high turnout rates. That's how he wins. Really high numbers, the most numbers of people to vote for a presidential candidate in the history of America voted for Joe Biden. And the second person to get the most votes was Donald Trump in 2020. So turnout is the difference maker for Democrats. And all through this year, in the same way that Donald Trump was not showing any ability to get independence, to win independence, Joe Biden had not shown any ability to get the kind of turnout in 2020 and 2024 that he got in 2020. That you heard about the enthusiasm lag, right, with Democrats, particularly with young people and others. So if Kamala Harris and her running mate do not get the same type of turnout in 2024 that they got in 2020, they don't win in November either. And it remains to be seen if either one of them can actually do this, simply because the polling was so bad for either candidate. It's the only way they can absolutely win. And that's why you've not seen much movement to 50% for either candidate, because they have not shown yet the ability to climb over these particular mountains. Last thing I'll say is that Trump is still the favorite, in my opinion, but Kamala Harris still has more room to grow. I mentioned that she can still reach out to independents. She can still solidify her base in the Democratic Party more, and she can go after that 15% of Ronald Reagan Republicans that are mainstream and conservative that are looking for a home and just haven't found it yet. If she can consolidate that, she has a bigger pathway, a bigger room to grow to 50% than Donald Trump, who has used every opportunity, including the day at the NABJ convention, to double down and to support his base and his base alone. And the MAGA base by itself is not enough to win a general election. The last thing I'll say is both of them need to be careful pandering. Kamala Harris, I know you need to increase the base support from African Americans. And having a great rally in Atlanta is great. But having people like Quavo and Megan Thee Stallion with the lyrics and the kind of personal figure that they have out there is no better than Amber Rose coming to the RNC. Now, I said it. You can think what you want to think, but I said it and I stand on it. If we can make fun of Republicans for having Hulk Hogan on there with all the racism that he's been accused of late in his life, or Kid Rock, right, and all the race sort of switching and coding he's done all his life, coming from a rich family and pretending to be in the hood and then becoming like a country star and all to try to save his, his fame. We can make fun of those kind of people. And in years past, it was Clint Eastwood and all those kind of folks. Then, folks, we can't be carting out, Megan Thee Stallion, Quavo. We all made fun of Joe Biden giving an interview to Cardi B. And I'm going to talk about sort of rappers and famous people supporting candidates. But if we're going to get serious here, if we're going to really try to get average Americans who are turned off from the system, I know you think celebrity is the way to do it. It's not. It's talking real issues. And it's okay to have some star power, but we got to be careful that we're not pandering. All right.